Good afternoon, everyone. Here we are again. Here we are again, standing for those who can't stand for themselves. Here we are again, representing the innocent victims of the state of New York that are losing their lives and being tortured as a result of reckless policies. Here we are again, talking about data points. No, we're not talking about data points, Governor Hochul. We're talking about victims. This was a horrific crime, and it could have been avoided. It could have been avoided. Governor Hochul wants to talk about data points. We want to talk about victims. The victims are the data points. Their family and friends are the data points. We're talking about people. Governor Hochul puts power before people, and it's time we put an end to that. This is absolutely one of the worst crimes I've seen, and I'm a cop. And I was a domestic violence cop and sergeant for a period of time. You know what it's like to have a victim look into your eyes and say, "You can't protect me"? Because the laws aren't protecting them, because law enforcement is shackled, or our judicial and criminal justice system is shackled and apologizing for itself by releasing perpetrators back on the street to re-victimize? You have any idea what an empty feeling that is as a cop? I can't imagine what it feels like as a judge when you have an individual like Saracena, who has decades worth of arrests in horrible domestic violence cases. His ex-wife, he beat more than an estimated 200 times. Once with a steel-toed boot, kicking her so hard he ruptured her spleen. Arrested and released, he goes on to rape a woman. But it wasn't just a rape. He dragged her across state lines, beating her so badly in the car that her jaw was broken multiple times. He stabbed her with an ice pick, put her in the trunk, then dragged her outside of the car and raped her. He served time and was released on parole. He was released, but we know his history. When a judge looked at this case in February, and it was a domestic harassment stalking charge, anyone could see what was going to happen next. Just by looking at this man's history, anyone could see that he was going to do it again. We released him to do it again. Our government's #1 job is to protect its people, and it's failing miserably. They released him to do it again. He wasn't allowed to set bail, and Saracena was let back onto the street. She was given an order of protection, but what does that matter if when he violates it 2 times after that, we're going to do nothing about it? It's just paper. Empty promises to victims who are suffering. We're going to do nothing about it. And the criminals know it. And released again to reoffend 2 more times. Finally, yet another data point, our 4th victim that we're talking about, and there have been multiple others. Yet again, another data point of a woman who was held against her will and raped. It didn't have to happen. Government's #1 job, #1 priority is to protect its people. And we now exist in a New York State government that is protecting criminals, emboldening them to do whatever they want with no consequences. It's enough. I am so sick of standing here and looking at the pain in victims' eyes. I am so sick of looking at family members and saying that we have failed you. I am sick of calling on Albany elected officials that are clueless and spineless to do the right thing. I now call on the people of the state of New York to stand with us, to stand with common sense, to stand with victims, to stand against criminals. Come out. Let your voices be heard. November 8th is Election Day, and it is time. It is time. This is not a red wave. This is a common sense wave. Republicans, Democrats, independents, and people who have never voted before are standing with us. All over this state we hear it. This is unacceptable. Governor Hochul, you need to be fired. You're failing to do your job. And come November 8th, I'm confident that the people of the state of New York will let you know that. Thank you.